the guy who, let me put it this way, if we had lost the game, would have probably been the guy people would have blamed. And not even Daniel Jones. And that's Deonte Banks, who we talked about it going into this season. This kid is a real test as his first year as the number one supposed shutdown corner here for this Giants team. You know, a gauntlet of receivers he has to play. I mean, again, the division has great players. We hate to say it because they're division rivals, but, you know, when you're going against A.J. Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and Scary Terry and Terry McLaurin there for 6 of your games, no matter what, you're going to have somewhat of a gauntlet. But you throw in the Justin Jeffersons of the world, you know, the guys that we're going to have to play here as well all throughout this whole entire season here. This is one of the guys, Amari Cooper, who we talked about going into this game, looked absolutely horrendous so far this season, guys. He had like less than 25 yards in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrendous. But a guy who did, 1,300 yards last season, consistently hits at least 1,100 yards in 5 of the 6 last seasons, if I remember the stat correctly, because I don't have that in front of my face right now. In this game, 7 catches, 86 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And the first touchdown, which we'll get into the cause of that later on here in a moment here, but the first touchdown, that one there is like, I don't want to blame Banks on, because that wasn't bad coverage. That was just, you know, Amari Cooper being good. Like, if he played,
Amari Cooper doing Amari Cooper.
Yeah, like if he had played against most different, you know, players and, you know, most top receivers, they don't make that play. Amari Cooper is one of those guys that I don't want to say he's a top 5 receiver, but he's a top 10 to top 15 easily.
Easily, yeah.
Like, you know, I mean, again, it wasn't the first 2 weeks, but I mean, historically, again, the guy's been 1,100 plus yards, but he averages about 1,200 yards a season, basically, you know? Like, that's a really good play in this league. You know, there's not many guys who do that on that kind of consistent basis, too, like he has. And again, on multiple teams, even. You know, he did it, almost did it for the Raiders. And then he goes to the Cowboys. Did it there. And then has looked really good, I think 3 seasons now he's been with the Browns now. This might be season 4.
It's probably.
This might be season 4. But
is it season 4? I think it's season 3.
I'd have to look at
whatever.
Either way, he's been really good though for them. And we knew this going into that. This was going to be a challenge for Banks. You know, and yeah, he lost the challenge, guys. I mean, that second touchdown alone, absolutely egregious. Like, you can't be like 5 yards off at that point. Like, he was in the middle of the end zone practically. And this at the snap, like, you can't give that much room to Cooper, who's a guy who typically is more known for the deep ball, but runs very good short routes as well. It's just he's so good deep. Why would you not put him deep? There's no deep to go, guys. There was no deep to go. Like, the only way you would ever go ahead and set a guy that far deep in the end zone is if you thought it was going to be an obvious fade route or something like that. And I got to think that's on the coaching staff for putting him there. But it made him look bad. It made him look really bad, you know, because that was an obvious touchdown. The second you saw the defense line up, you're like, Cooper's going to be wide open. We were all doing it at home, guys. You probably were as well, right? I mean, am I wrong?
I was making tacos at the point, but yes. Let's be like, we're going to be honest.
Tacos sound good. But, I mean, it's like that was such an obvious coverage mistake to make it's not even funny. And, again, if that's what they call, that's what they call. I don't want to put that part of it on Banks. But it just looked really bad because he was so far off of him. But there was plenty of other plays that he was just letting Cooper get the ball. The coverage was not good on Banks. He failed this one. You know, he succeeded the first 2 weeks. He failed. And
I think it's a little unfair to say he failed. Yes, he failed on some attempts, which probably coaching.
Did Cooper have a really good game?
Do you want to see he had a really good game? You just said, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns? Like, it's not like a great game.
86 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's really good. 7 catches. So maybe do the math. I will do the math, damn it. That'd be a 1,462-yard season. That'd be 119 catches.
Okay, we also talked about
34 touchdowns.
We also talked about how great Cooper is, and
and he's good. He is.
And it's very easy for him to get 100-yard games, and he was held under that. And yes, there were some bad plays in the end zone.
That's his average last year, 86 yards. We just said that, 1,300 some odd yards. I just think that, and again, Banks is still young. He's still developing. But this is why I didn't like the plan of having Banks as number one. I never did. Not this season. I think he needed one more year. And he's being kind of thrown out there. And that's what I'm saying. I don't want to say bashing, but I'm complaining about the way Banks played in this game. But I'm putting it more on the coaching staff than I am on Banks himself.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
And he's not put in the position to succeed when you're 10 yards off the guy when they're at the 5-yard line. That's ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's I don't think it's fair to say he failed compared to the coaching fails.
I'll say he failed, but he didn't get set up for success. That's the way I'm wording it.
Okay. Like that, like I just want to make sure like we're putting out there like it wasn't like his skill set wasn't what failed out there. It was more or less the play calling of like
they both did. Honestly, they both did.
Yeah.
The play calling didn't do any justice, but there was times he was there and he just had too much separation, was too far off him. And that's not play calling, that's him not keeping up.
There was part of that, but I mean, once again, if you were more of a man coverage play calling in the zone, especially like way zone and the red zone, when you shouldn't have been, like, does he get 68? Does he get 86 yards and 2 touchdowns? No, probably not.
I mean, I think 1 or 2 catches less, and he'd be obviously one of them being the touchdown, and you would have said he had a good game.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
he had a better play calling where he stopped 1 or 2 catches. We're talking about a different game.
Yeah, but it's also, again, it's one of those that the queen had ball should be the king kind of scenario. Like, that's not what happened. So I can only judge based on what I saw.
It's also 2024, man. You can't judge like that.
Like,
apparently,
that's where we're at. Like, that's what I was able to watch, and that's what I got to complain about because that's what I saw. Is that he got burnt by Cooper a couple times. I'm not going to blame the first one so much, the first touchdown, because the coverage wasn't bad, but the rest of them, it's got to be closer to him. And I'm not just talking wrong when I say that. I'm saying it just in general, and that's on him. That's on him missing a step at that point because he's running really good routes. And Cooper is a good route runner. But this is why I'm saying, like, he's not ready. And unfortunately, he's kind of have to be now. He's going to go in trial under fire mode, basically, where he's either going to be sink or swim.
Swim. Please swim. God, for the love of God, swim.
You gotta hope. Now, I will say this. I don't think Banks gets enough credit, though, for that final, I don't want to say pass breakup because he didn't get his hands on it, but his final coverage where the guy, and I'm sorry, I don't have the receiver's name for the Browns right here in front of me, the one that came in for Amari Cooper when he got hurt. Like, he could have been wide open, ready to go. Banks got his hands up just enough to not deflect the ball, but I do think he got his hands up enough to kind of block some of the view for the receiver. And because of that, even though it hit him right in the numbers, I don't think he saw it coming. And I think that's part of the drop. So I want to give Banks credit for that. I want to be all just negative on Banks. Like, that was a really good play on his end. But he got spanked by Cooper. You can call it that.
I think you're going drastic there, but yeah.
I don't think he's at all. Did you see Cooper struggling to get open? Did you see him struggling to catch the ball at any points?
I don't. I'm not going to say he looked comfortable. I'm not going to say he looked comfortable, but like
Cooper would have had easily. I'm telling you right now, and I don't mean this to hyperbolize, but I'm saying legit. Cooper would have easily had over 110, like 120 yards there if Watson was actually a decent quarterback. Same as we can't give Neighbors the credit for what he did with the bad quarterback and then not give.
And if the queen had balls, you would call him the king.
I know. I'm just saying. But I'm saying it's fair at that point. If we're going to say it about Neighbors, you got to say it about Cooper.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I know I'm not. That's why I said it.
But at the same time, like, It's exactly what you said before. Like, you're going off.
I know, I know it. Like, I know it. I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying, but I'm just saying. I think it's a reasonable assumption to assume that with better quarterback play, Cooper would have had even better numbers, and that held him back to a certain degree today.
It did.
So,
if you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.